cause you got deja vu. Ooh. I'm gonna stop embarrassing myself. Hello, my name is Troy. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be recommending books to you based off of Olivia Rodrigo's debut album, SOUR. And first, before we even get into this video, if y'all have not listened to the new album by Olivia Rodrigo, SOUR, you guys have to. Like, she got me into listening to albums, basically. Like, I would just listen to singles all the time and just listen to like one song, but listening to an album just hits different, and I just love Olivia Rodrigo so much. She's like my favorite artist, my biggest inspiration, and we love her. We stand here on this channel, and today I wanted to do a whole kind of book recommendation video based off of that. I saw Blake the Book Eater do this and KT Reads, so definitely I'll put their videos down in the description. They inspired this video, and I just thought it's a cool concept to kind of go through each song in the album and kind of match that up with the book, and also kind of go into my thoughts on each song as well while I do this. So it's gonna be great. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and let's get into it, because there's like 11 songs, which means there's 11 book recommendations, and that's gonna be a lot to handle. So yeah, let's get into it.
God, it's brutal out here.
Alright, so first we've got Brutal, and this is like the intro song, and it's kind of just like a lot of chaos is about to happen. Olivia Rodrigo is basically reflecting on her year of being 17 as this really brutal and kind of chaotic year, and I love this song, by the way. It's such a great way. It was kind of like a risky way to start an album because it's such a different song, but I personally enjoyed it. And my book recommendation for this song is Nemesis by Brendan Reichs, because it just brings on the chaos and the intrigue, and there's just a lot of stuff that happens, a lot of trauma that happens, and so I definitely think it kind of matches the theme of Brutal. This book is about these two characters. We have Min and Noah, and Min, she is going through a very rough period of her life because, well, her whole life is rough in general, because essentially every like second year on her birthday she dies. Like, she'll literally have someone like go into her house and murder her, and she kind of discovers that she's a part of this experiment to kind of cheat death, and there's this apocalypse coming, and humans need to kind of find a way for some people to kind of continue the human race, and so this is the way for that. They're trying to cheat death essentially in this world. And then we've also got Noah, who's another part of this experiment, and he's having these like really haunting dreams where he's also dying a lot, and so it's basically these two characters who are experiencing a lot of trauma in their life, and so it's really interesting. Definitely brutal. This book is, I feel bad for the characters because it's definitely brutal out here, as Olivia Rodrigo says. Next, we've got Traitor, and this is my favorite track on the album. It is just poetic, it is beautiful, like just starting. Let me see if I can play it, because like, oh my gosh. Hello? Just that ooh, all that stuff, that just got me in my feels. And this song is basically about her ex that kind of like betrayed her in a sense, where he kind of moved on from her so quick after their breakup. And this was a really sad song, and it kind of has to deal with kind of like almost an enemies to lovers feel. And this reminds me most of An Ember in the Ashes by Sabbath Tahir, because there's a big betrayal in this book, and just across the whole series there's betrayals, and there's kind of new allies. There's just this constant battle, and it feels like, you know, we really want people on her side, and so I don't know, I just really get that vibe. And this series is all about like this world where there are these like kind of marshals, there are these like soldiers that are always in constant kind of destruction of the scholar world, and Laia herself and her brother is a scholar, and her brother actually gets taken away, and so Laia has to go undercover and go to this school where another character that we follow is, and he's trying to desert the school, and so they kind of meet each other. They have this kind of enemies to lovers feel as well, and then there's also the betrayal. So I just really recommend this book. I can't go too deep into the details because we've got so many books to talk about, but like this aligns so perfectly with Traitor, I can't even believe it. So next up, we've got Driver's License, and although I tend to not really like a lot of those sadder and slower songs, it's beautiful, it's great, I love it. And when it first came out, I probably listened to that like 100 times. I don't even know where Olivia Rodrigo came from, but she like she saved this year. She saved 2021, period. And when I think of Driver's License, I think of like a really like kind of debut hit song, and that's what I'm gonna do with this book recommendation, because I mean, Olivia Rodrigo had written like All I Want, but that was really for Disney. This was the first song that she was writing for herself, and this book that I want to recommend for Driver's License is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas, because this was a book that I felt like was kind of in the sense of Driver's License, like this really hit book that just comes out and it's like a debut and it kind of just shocks the world. The book was really good itself. It's basically kind of this ghost story, but also kind of mixed in with some LGBTQ themes because the main character is trans and he is trying to prove himself to his family while there's also this kind of mystery going on the undertones, and there are these like all these ghosts kind of plaguing his future and his past, and it's just a really interesting story. I totally recommend. Aiden Thomas is a phenomenal writer and we just love him. We just love ourselves some Aiden Thomas, and Driver's License, mwah. Next, we've got One Step Forward and Three Steps Back. The track itself is okay. I like it. It's just not my favorite. But the lyrics, though, the lyrics are perfect. The lyrics are probably the best in the whole album. And I'm just a really big lyric guy. Like, at the end of the day, a lot of people go off, like, kind of what they enjoy listening to. But I really try to, like, interpret the lyrics and, like, get the meaning and kind of just feel the style. Because I love just, like, looking at how the creator will, like, do their rhymes or, like, you know, set everything up. And anyways, I'm going too deep into this, but One Step Forward, Three Steps Back is kind of about her relationship with her ex, and she's kind of saying that like she tries so hard to kind of, you know, be more happy with him, but it really only sets her back. And this book reminds me of Warcross by Mary Lou because the song does kind of detail like a troubling relationship. There's one line like, maybe in some masochistic way I find it all exciting, which lover will I get today, will he walk me to the door or send me home crying. So it's like she's kind of involved in this kind of like troublesome relationship, and that really reminds me of Warcross by Mary Lou because there's a troublesome relationship in there, and there's actually many troublesome relationships in the series, and I find it really interesting. And the series in general is just really good. Like, even it has some troublesome relationships, of course, but I'm also recommending it to you because it's this awesome sci-fi world where there's these like immense games, but there's like hackers hacking into this virtual world, and then this like average person who's kind of this bounty hunter of those hackers kind of gets recruited by the billionaire game developer, and she's kind of chased or tasked to chase down these hackers and figure out this puzzle while also competing in this huge games that are the Warcross. So it's really cool. I definitely recommend, and One Step Forward, Three Steps Back is a bop. Alright, next we've got Deja Vu, ooh, cause you got deja vu, ooh. I'm gonna stop embarrassing myself. Deja Vu is great. I think it's a little bit more kind of dull than the others, and I don't like the lyrics as much. Like, this is probably the one that I like the lyrics the least, but the instrumental and like the composition is a bop. I'm just saying, like, the lyrics could be a bit better, and I feel like it's kind of like the weakest in terms of emotional. Like, I don't really relate to it as much, but when I think of Deja Vu, I think of like books with popular tropes, because it's getting me deja vu. Like, I thought I just read this book yesterday because it has a lot of very similar tropes and a lot of very popular tropes. And so this book is going to be Keeper Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. It has a lot of popular tropes and it has kind of a similar storyline to some other books, but it's refreshing, and that's what Deja Vu is. It's like, even though it kind of feels just generic, it is refreshing, and that's exactly what I feel like with this book, because it does have tropes like the love triangle, the magical school, the chosen one, just to list off 3 like very prominent tropes. It is very refreshing because the elven world that we're set in with this story is definitely really interesting to read about. It's so cool. The elven technology, the desserts, the food, the creatures, like, it's just so interesting and creative to delve into this world. Although it does follow very popular stories that kind of originate from that like magical school, like, oh, you're chosen, like kind of the Harry Potter style, like, oh, you're a wizard, and then let's go to Hogwarts. It's kind of like, you're an elf, let's go to Foxfire. But like, it's also really refreshing because it deviates from that tropes as well, and the love triangle and all that stuff and the miscommunication trope is somewhat like annoying, but at the same time it just works because it's middle grade and it's fun, and I really enjoy it. Next up, we've got Good For You, and that is, this is an amazing song, The first time I listened to Good For You, I was like, what the heck is this? The music video was great, but I was like, what am I listening to? Like, this really departed from kind of the innocent Olivia Rodrigo that, like, a lot of people knew from, like, Disney, and she burned down a house or something. It was a good song, but, you know, after I listened to it a couple times, I was like, this is a bop, and now every time it comes on, I am screaming. Like, it's so good. Your apathy is like a wound in salt, and maybe you never cared at all. Yes, okay. Anyways, for this one, I have The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This book also ends in a lot of flames, and the whole series does. Like, literally, if you look up Hunger Games, what do you get? Flames. If you look up Good For You, what do you get? Flames. So, The Hunger Games matches perfectly with this, and it's basically, if you don't know the basic plot, it's about this world where the capital is this kind of booming, like, area, while the 12 districts surrounding the capital are struggling a lot. And so, each district has to send 2 children into the Hunger Games to kind of make up for a revolution that happened like 100 years ago or whatever. And this is a continuation of America. It's kind of set in America, but in a very futuristic way. And so the Hunger Games are this really cruel place where 2 people have to send in their, their kids, and then they all fight to the death. And so Katniss, her sister, gets selected, but she takes her place. And so there's this insane Hunger Games that happens with Katniss in it. We're rooting for her, but there's also this undertone of rebellion and revolution where Katniss has to kind of try to fight and take down the capital because it is an oppressive society. I don't know, it's a really interesting book, and it really matches Good For You in my opinion. Enough for You. It's also a really poetic song, but I think it's the weakest out of all the tracks. It's my least favorite. Sorry Not Sorry, but it is a sad song, and it makes me cry. So let's recommend a book that also made me cry, and that is Stay Gold by Tobley McSmith. This book has to deal with this transgender boy who's kind of navigating his first kind of steps into high school and this crush on this girl, this cheerleader named Georgia. He doesn't tell anyone that he's transgender. He just passes really well, and no one really questions him about it. So when his secret does come out, there's a lot of hurt that comes his way. This book does have to deal with a lot of homophobia and transphobia, which is sad, and that's also another trigger warning, and made me cry so much. It was the sweetest thing, but also bittersweet at the same time. Like, this book will make you cry, I promise you, and like, it just matches, I feel like, the theme of Enough For You so well. Like, we'll just put that there. Next up, we've got Happier, and this is a bop. It's all about, like, moving on, heartbreak, and, like, kind of jealousy all at the same time of, Olivia's ex kind of getting with a new girl. And so it's a lot of, it's a common song. We can all relate to it because we've all experienced it. So, without further ado, I really like The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon as my choice for this because it has to deal with a lot of heartbreak and moving on and separation of people that you kind of are attached to. And so we're set with these 2 teenagers. I think they're either like 16 or 18. We have a black woman and an Asian man. The woman is getting deported, like, within the day. She's doing all that she can. She goes into her interview and she's like really hoping that she'll be able to get some sort of, final pass, final safety, but it doesn't work out. She knows she's getting deported, so she has one last day in America. But then she meets this guy, and I don't remember their names, so bear with me. I read this last year, and she's like, dang, he's kind of cute, and then he's like, oh dang, she's kind of cute. And so he kind of just follows her around, and they finally kind of just talk to each other, because it was kind of like love at first sight almost for the guy. He was like, I just love this woman. And he just kind of follows her, and then they kind of have this really epic romance throughout the day as they kind of like start learning more about each other. They always kind of ask each other questions, and it's just like this wonderful 24-hour relationship, although the guy does not know that she is getting deported. And so we also have that kind of theme of like heartbreak and moving on. They will never see each other again. She's going back to her home country and he's staying in America. So it's really, really tough, and it's such a sad book, and so I really think it kind of goes with the themes of Happier. I totally recommend The Sun Is Also a Star. It is such a good book. Jealousy, one of my favorites, probably in my top 3 or top 5, somewhere around there, because it's just like, co-comparison is killing me slowly. I'm so sick of myself. I'd rather be anyone else. Jealousy is following me. Okay, anyways, when I think of this book, The Tales of Despero by Kate DiCamillo, and this is because we have one character is named Mig, and she had this really hardship early in her life because her dad actually sold her as a slave to someone else, and she had to work for him. Like, that's awful. That, like, let's completely be honest. Like, that's awful, having your own dad like sell you for money. It's a hard time for her because he messes up her hearing by like beating her ear. I don't know what it was called, but like he would always like clout her ear or whatever that means. I don't know, it was kind of silly to me. And she would just kind of grow deaf, and in secret she'd always kind of aspire to be like this princess or this royalty, and so she does have this kind of jealous tone, and it just reminded me a lot of the themes in Jealousy with the co-comparison is killing me. So I recommend that book. It's not like an amazing book, especially if you're like an adult or a teen, because I read it first when I was in like elementary school, and I just read it for like nostalgia purposes, but it's still a good book nevertheless. Alright, favorite crime. This was another one of those that are kind of at the bottom for me. Like, it's sweet and all, but I don't know. And it's just kind of another kind of like sad ending sort of songs. Like, it's kind of like, oh, I hope that I was your favorite crime. I hope that, like, even though you're now with someone else, I hope that I was still important to you. And this reminded me of The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, because it had a bittersweet ending. Like, yes, the kind of arc and the whole purpose of the book was kind of fulfilled, right? But we know that racism did not stop. Like, we know that a lot of the book was about activism for, you know, racism to stop, and it just doesn't. And that's kind of like the sad part of the book, is because, and like, I know the author purposely made it kind of bittersweet in a way that like, this is still an ongoing thing. It's still an ongoing problem. Oppression, discrimination is going to, you know, keep going. It's getting better very slowly, and it's still not gonna stop, probably even in our lifetime. So I think it was a really important message, and it was bittersweet, but like, the book itself did so much, and so I'm really proud of Angie Thomas for that. Like, her book definitely spread awareness for everyone, and it's such a powerful book. So I definitely recommend The Hate You Give as like a book definitely to educate about Black issues. It's amazing, it's stunning, and love it. It's so sad, but it's a great book. It's a great book. So powerful too. Okay, now Hope You're Okay is the last one, and the bridge in this song, oh my gosh. Address the letters and the holes in my butterfly wings. Hope You're Okay is amazing. It's definitely my top 3 or top 5, and it's like, I was literally, when I was listening to the album, I was like waiting for Olivia Rodrigo to address like anything about kind of like how society like discriminates against people, and I was like, yes, we finally got this song. She talked about this boy like in a bad relationship with his dad. He was doing self-harm because his dad and his parents would care more about the Bible than their child's sexuality, and so I really resonated with that. And then also there was another girl who kind of had troubles because she was trying to raise all of her kids because her parents didn't really like who she was with. It's definitely a really hard-hitting song, and I want to match that with an LGBTQ book recommendation because that's kind of the main theme. And so I'm gonna go with They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, because it really resonates with the LGBTQ aspect and also the kind of sadness of the song, because it's like, you know, she lost all these people in her lives that she was, and she really hopes they're okay. They Both Die at the End is basically about the story of two boys meeting up with each other on their last day on the earth. They get this call from Deathcast. Basically, they're only gonna have 24 hours left to live, and they meet each other on this like last friend app, and they actually develop this romance, and they both die at the end. As the title says, it's not a spoiler, they both die at the end. That's kind of the whole purpose of the book, is because they're gonna have this long-lasting relationship for 24 hours, but at the end of the day, they will die. And so it's a really, you know, triggering book, especially if you don't like talking about death and stuff, but I think it's really matches the tone of Hope You're Okay, and I definitely recommend Adam Silvera. This book was stunning. It was stunning. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can try to do a ranking of all the songs. This is going to be interesting. Let me quickly do this, and then I'll come back. Okay, I did it. My official rankings are Traitor as number 1, as I said, then Good For You, then Jealousy, then Hope You're Okay, then Brutal, then Driver's License, then Happier, then Deja Vu, then One Step Forward, 3 Steps Back, then Favorite Crime, and then Enough For You. So I think that's a pretty good ranking in my opinion. Let me know your rankings of the songs in the description, because I really want to discuss the album with you. I could talk about Sour for hours because it's just so good. It's so good. I love you, and I cannot wait for this new album. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm probably gonna go listen to Sour some more after I you know, film this or after I do my thumbnail and stuff. But thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Leave a like, please. Subscribe to my channel, please. We're like so close to 2K. It's insane. Like, why are you not subscribing yet? Please. And also comment down below, like I said, your thoughts on the album. Do your rankings for me, because I know some people have their rankings just easily accessible. And also let me know what you think of the book recommendations. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and fun videos coming soon. Bye. Love you.